right, welcome to the linear graphing calculator worksheet. We are going to enter points into the calculator, and the calculator is going to tell us the line that matches these points as best possible. Now, these points do not line up perfectly into a line, but they're going to be kind of like a line, and the calculator will make a best guess for what's called a trend line that it says there on the worksheet. Okay, this is going to require a calculator, so you need to grab yourself a yellow calculator. If we need to pause the video, you can and do that. If you bought a calculator, you can follow along with yours if it's the TI-84 plus CE. Otherwise, you'll be a little bit confused on what to do. All right. So this is going to take a little bit of patience and much concentration. So are you guys ready to go? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to clear the calculator. We're going to clear the memory on the calculator. So you hit the on button, which is down here in the corner. In the lower corner is the on button. And we're going to go to memory. Memory is above the addition sign. See, it says MEM. So we're going to hit second and memory. And you get this menu like this that says about, etc. We're going to go down to number 7. We just go down like on a computer screen, so up and down. So use the buttons here in the corner. So it says reset. So hit the reset button, which is now to do that you hit enter. And then it's going to say, hey, do you want to get rid of all the RAM? Clear the RAM, which stands for random access memory. It's the memory that makes the computer work, well, the calculator, which is like a computer. We hit enter, and yes, we want to reset that, so we'll go down to reset and enter. So the RAM is cleared. The reason why we do that, it sets the calculator back to like the factory standards, and there's a button on the back that'll do the same thing, but we don't want to use that button because if different people keep pushing that button, eventually that button will break. It's not a very big button, so I'd prefer that you not do it that way. I really want you to go through the process of, we'll do it again, second memory 7, so you can actually hit the number 7, and then all RAM, so yes, and then go down to number 2 and reset. Okay, that way everybody has the same calculator and there'll be less confusion. So I wrote down steps here. We're going to put the data into the calculator. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hit the stat button, which is right here. So we hit stat, and then we're going to edit. So we're going to edit the data. So we hit enter, and we get something that looks like a spreadsheet. I'll hit the focus button here. So it has like rows and columns. L stands for list, so list 1, list 2, list 3. Notice it has that subscript notation. So we're going to put the X's in this column and the Y's in this column right here. Okay, I'm going to hit the refocus button again. So our first step is to go to stat and then edit. And then step 2 is enter data. And that's the points right here. So I'm going to go ahead and start typing those in. All the X's first and hit enter. Make sure when you do negative, you use the negative key, not the minus, because it'll error. So we're going to use this negative key right here. So negative 10, enter. The next X value, just going across, is negative 5, enter. Negative 1, enter. 3, enter. 12, enter. I'm going to go to the top and then enter in all of the Y values. 3, enter. 1, enter. Negative 4, enter. Negative 7, enter. Negative 12, enter. So you should have all these points in here. If you need a little bit more time, pause the video, hit the focus button. So there's all the data points put in there. Just X's and Y's as you go down. This works just like a spreadsheet. Microsoft Excel, or it's called Sheets in the Google world. Refocus. Now we're going to calculate the equation of the line. So to do that, we have to calculate. So step 3, after we enter the data in, we hit the stat button again. We go to calculate, and then we are going to choose what's called a linear regression, which is number 4 on the list. So that's what we do next. So stat calculate linear regression, which is number 4. And again, if I'm going too fast, pause the video. That's what we can do here. I have a wireless mouse in front of me. See the wireless mouse? You can even, click on the pause button really quickly from anywhere in the room. Okay, so I said stat calculate and then linear regression. So we hit the stat key again, and see where it says calculate across the top there? So we're going to slide over to calculate, and then we go down to number 4. So hit the down, and number 4 is linear regression. Notice it says ax plus b, so instead of y equals mx plus b, the calculator calls it ax plus b. A is the slope and b is the y-intercept. L1 is the list of the x values. So L1's is the x values, L2 is the y values, and then that we never use frequently list, but we're going to store the regression. This is what we're doing, is making a regression. So I'm going to go down, and we're going to store the regression. So here's the process to store the regression. So number 4 is we're going to store regression. We get to sing a little song when we do this. We're going to hit the vars key, and then we choose yvars, and then we choose function, and then we choose y1. So it's vars, yvars, function, y1. I need to underline that 4 times, don't I? Vars, yvars, function, y1. That's vars, yvars, function, y1. That's how we get the regression stored, the equation, which just call it an equation stored. So we hit the vars button, which is right here. See vars, variable, it stands for variables, not vars, but variables. So vars, now you see it up here, it says yvars, so we have to slide over. Function, so we hit enter, vars, yvars, function, we hit enter, and then y1 is the first thing, so we hit enter again. All right, now we have to hit enter, like calculate, it's blinking down there. So we calculate the regression, and we can write the answer down. That's the answer. So the slope, the A, is negative 0.71 or 72. So I write negative 0.72x, and then the B is the y-intercept, and that's negative 394 plus negative 3.94. Now what's cool about this is, since I stored the regression, it is in it's in the calculator already here in y equals. So it's already typed in, so we don't have to retype it. So if you hit y equals, which is up here, you can see the regression is stored in there. Now, if I go up and I turn the plot on, so I get up and see how it's blinking on plot. I went up and it's blinking on plot. If I hit enter, that turns the plot on. So that'll plot the points, the original points, and it will it'll plot the points, and it will graph the line at the same time. So I'm going to hit graph, and there are the points, and the line matches the points. Not perfectly, because they're just random, like data points from a scientific experiment or something like that, but it matches up pretty well. We hit the focus button here. So it's kind of like an average thing. See, this one is too big, it's like Goldilocks. This one here is too small, so in between you get an average. This one's too small, that one right there looks just right. So the points create a line kind of thing, and we're gonna graph the trend line. Okay, let's go through a second example of this. But we're going to do the second example in the next video because of the fact that I went over 10 minutes on my trial of this before, and the program hiccuped. So I don't want to redo this a third time. So I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to go through another one in the next video.